it, I'll declare, while we're on the air. You can sing, all your cares won't mean a single thing. You'll be just as happy as a king, all the while you sing. Though you are near or far, that makes no difference to me. Just begin, tune right in, we're like a big family. On the air, greetings everybody everywhere. Just a little happiness we'll share while we're on the air.
This is Robert Parker, welcoming you to another in our occasional series of special programs about the great radio entertainers. Tonight featuring one of the greatest stars of the 1920s, 30s and 40s, Gertrude Lawrence. And I'll also be announcing the answers and the names of the winners of our Cotton Club competition held on the 2nd of February. Gertrude Lawrence was a renowned star of stage and screen, and it may come as much of a surprise to you as it did to me to discover that she was also a prolific radio performer. Because unless you were actually around at the time and heard the broadcasts, almost nothing remains of them. And yet they were an important part of her career. As you'll hear in an edition of the Eddie Cantor show that I'll be playing in full, when Eddie asks her, apropos table etiquette, how she gets her gravy, she replies, from doing little jobs like this on the radio. Her most regular little job on the radio came during the war years, while she was appearing in New York in her smash stage hit, Lady in the Dark. She also appeared weekly in a transcribed program called Broadway Calling. Here's a small remaining fragment of the show, as broadcast in Britain in December 1943.
What's that noise?
Oh, they're opening my presents from Mr. Carr.
What's they doing here?
Hurry up, boys. Come on, hurry up. I can hardly wait. Look out, it's moving. It's alive.
Oh, say, careful, gentlemen, I beg of you. Don't you see the label? Glass with care.
Blimey, it's Mr. Carp himself.
Come here, Mr. Carp.
No, Edwin, dear, you come over here to Auntie G. I'll see the hurry man doesn't hurt you.
So, Mr. Carp, Trojan horse tactics, eh? You can't get away with that kind of thing. A gift for Miss Lawrence.
I couldn't have been a nicer one, Edwin.
But I am not the gift, Auntie G. I am merely the wrapping. Here is the gift. I grew it myself. It took me many years.
Oh, thank you. How exciting. Oh, Edwin, it's a lock of your hair. Oh, boys, look, it's a lock of his hair. Oh, how sweet of you.
Oh, I'm glad you like it, Auntie G.
Like it, I love it.
Well, that's off my chest.
What? Oh, sure, Rob. Oh, no, stop it. Hello, everybody. This is just to remind you that you're listening to a half-hour program broadcast for your entertainment from New York City, with the recorded music of Alan Roth, Will Osborne and the Merrimacs, Richard Haydn, myself, and our guest stars, the Jesters, and Burns and Allen. Man tells me that Burns and Allen are just coming through on the air. Tune them in, Richard.
Okay, G, here we go.
Well, we'll leave Burns and Allen for another program at a later date. That was a short excerpt from Broadway Calling, starring Gertrude Lawrence in 1943. Now, obviously, that show could hardly be regarded as a landmark in her career. But the thing which I find fascinating about it is that that record came out of her own personal collection. And so do the other records I'm playing tonight, which trace her career from the mid-1920s. I bought them from a London dealer in the 1970s, and this is the first time they've ever been broadcast. Here, for instance, is her own copy of one of her most famous records, made in London for Decca in March 1932.
When one is
Noel Coward's Someday I'll Find You from Private Lives. Although the names of Coward and Lawrence seem almost synonymous, the partnership was in fact only a relatively short interlude in an extremely busy and varied career, but it certainly produced some of her most enduring successes. They first met as children before the First World War at Italia Conti's stage school and performed together in 1923 in the revue London Calling. Then their paths diverged until 1930 and Private Lives. Here they are in the love scene from Act 1, picking up just after Amanda has sung Someday I'll Find You.
You always had a sweet voice, Amanda.
Thank you.
What exactly were you remembering at that moment?
Lots of things.
So was I.
What fools we were to ruin it all. What utter fools.
We were so ridiculously over in love.
Yes. And yet, here we are starting off with two quite different people. In love all over again, aren't we? Aren't we?
No,
Well,
we're not in love all over again, and you know it. Good night, Amanda.
well, yet don't leave me. We won't talk about ourselves anymore. Talk about outside things, anything, honey. Stay with me till I pull myself together.
Very well.
What have you been doing lately, during these last years?
I went around the world, you know, after...
Yes, yes, of course I know. How was it?
The world?
Yes.
Very enjoyable.
China must be very interesting.
Very big, China.
And Japan?
Very small.
Did you eat shark's fins and take your shoes off and use chopsticks and everything?
Practically everything.
And India? The burning Ghats or Ghats or whatever they are, and the Taj Mahal. How was the Taj Mahal?
Unbelievable. A sort of dream.
That was the moonlight, I expect. Of course, you saw it in the moonlight.
Yes. Moonlight can be cruelly deceptive.
And it didn't look like a biscuit box, did it? You know, I've always felt that it might.
Darling, I do love you so.
I do hope you met a sacred elephant. They're limped white, I believe, and very, very sweet.
I've never loved anybody else for an instant. And you love me too, don't you? There isn't any doubt about it anywhere, is there?
No. No doubt. Anywhere.
You're looking very lovely in this damned moonlight, Amanda. Your skin is clear and cool, and your eyes are shining. And you're growing lovelier and lovelier every second as I look at you. You don't hold any mystery for me, darling. Do you mind? There isn't a particle of you that I don't know, remember, and want.
I'm glad it looks sweet.
More than any desire in the world. Deep down in my deepest heart, I want you back again. Please.
Don't say any more. You're making me cry so dreadfully.
Noel Coward and Gertrude Lawrence in the famous love scene, recorded in September 1930, just a couple of weeks before its London stage premiere. After the success of Private Lives, G, as she preferred to be known, returned again to musical comedy in 1933. She starred in Cole Porter's Nymph Errant, based on Margaret Kennedy's novel The Constant Nymph. It's something of an oddity, because it was Porter's only musical never performed in the United States. However, it provided Gertrude Lawrence with some delightfully witty and tuneful material.
Once I loved such a shattering physician, quite the best-looking doctor in the state. He looked after my physical condition, and his bedside manner was great. When I'd gaze up and see him there above me, looking less like a doctor than a turd, I was tempted to whisper, "Do you love me? Or do you merely love your work?" He said my bronchial tubes were entrancing, my epiglottis filled him with glee. He simply loved my larynx and went wild about my pharynx, but he never said he loved me. He said my epidermis was darling and found my blood as blue as could be.
He went through wild ecstatics when I showed him my lymphatics, but he never said he loved me. And though no doubt it was not very smart of me, I kept on racking my soul to figure out why he loved every part of me, and yet not me as a whole. By my esophagus he was ravished, enthusiastic to a degree. He said 'twas just enormous, my appendix vermiformis, but he never said he loved me. He said my cerebellum was brilliant, and my cerebrum far from NG. I know he thought a lot of my medulla oblongata, but he never said he loved me. He said my maxillaries were marvels, and found my sternum stunning to see. He did a double hurdle when I shook my pelvic girdle, but he never said he loved me. He seemed amused when he first made a test of me to further his medical art, yet he refused when he fixed up the rest of me to cure that ache in my heart. I know he thought my pancreas perfect, and for my spleen was keen as could be. He said of all his sweeties I'd the sweetest diabetes, but he never said he loved me.
The Physician, from the 1933 production of Cole Porter's Nymph Errant. 1934 saw Gertrude Lawrence co-starring in London with Douglas Fairbanks Jr. in Moonlight is Silver, a play by Clemence Dane. Here's an excerpt, including the play's theme song, written by Richard Adensel of Warsaw Concerto fame.
Oh, as if I could say a word in front of you. You paralyze me.
Stephen, don't be ridiculous.
You don't understand. You'd call my bluff. I'd stop believing in myself. You see, I've never been sure of myself. At least, not until you came along.
Tore along, you mean, the moment I set eyes on you in the distance. Let's have that quite clear.
I must do something, mustn't I? If you love me so much. Or if I bluffed you as I have everyone else. And what will you do to me when you find me out?
Stephen, dear, listen. I look at you, and time stands still. Under the sun, we follow our will. Under the moon, you swear to be faithful and true eternally. But moonlight is silver, sunlight is gold. Will you remember when I grow old? Will you remember when I am dead? My hair was sunlight, my lips were red. Give me no answer, let me pretend. Love is my echo, time is my friend. Moonlight is silver, moonlight is cold. Will you remember when you grow old?
Gertrude Lawrence and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. in a scene from the 1934 production of Clemence Dane's Moonlight is Silver. In 1936, the coward Lawrence team came back into action. touring the provinces in Noel's new revue, Tonight at 7:30. Well, naturally enough, big city dwellers go to bed later, so when they opened in London, it was retitled Tonight at 8:30, and it was a smash hit. It was a collection of 9 playlets, which gave the stars a wide variety of roles to play. I think the most interesting one was Red Peppers, which gave Gertie a chance to recapture the atmosphere of her early days in show business, performing in pubs and music halls before the outbreak of the First World War.
Ladies and gentlemen, with your very kind indulgence, my wife and myself will present to you our famous nautical extravaganza. Thank you, Bert. That's right.
What's to be done with a drunken sailor, so the saying goes. We're not tight for an too bright red Scott, I don't suppose. We lost our way and we lost our pain to make the thing complete. We've been and gone and lost the blooming fleet. Has anybody seen our ship, the HMS Peculiar? We've been on shore for a month or more. When we see the captain we should get what for. Heave-ho, my hearties, sing glory, hallelujah. A lady bold as she could be pinched our whistles at the Golden Key. Now we're in between the devil and the deep blue sea. Has anybody seen our shipwreck? Oh, Lord, 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 Lord. Shut up, shut up, shut up.
Here, Jack, who was that lady I saw you walking down the street with the other day?
That was no lady, that was my wife.
Wait for it, wait for it.
Better to come, better to come. Yeah, why did you leave school?
Why did I leave school, Jack?
Yeah.
Appendicitis.
What do you mean, appendicitis?
Couldn't spell it.
Oh, dear. Oh, isn't that pretty arc? It'll never get well if you pick it. That'll go better second out. Yeah.
Here, Jack, where was you last night?
Where was I last night?
Where was you last night?
Cemetery.
Oh, I mean, anybody dead?
All of them.
Hey! Face for a minute, face for a minute.
I got a little riddle to ask you.
You got a little riddle to ask me, Jack?
Why is getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning like a pig's tail?
I don't know, Jack. Why is getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning like a pig's tail?
Twirly. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Now. What's two?
Yeah, Jack.
What?
I've been very worried about you lately.
Pourquoi, French?
I heard you had adenoids.
You heard I had
I
adenoids?
heard you had adenoids.
Don't speak of it. Don't speak of it.
Why not?
Adenoids. Oh, what's to be done with the girls on shore who lead our tours astray? What's to be done with the drinks galore that make them pass away? We got wet ears from our first 5 beers. After that we lost control, and now we find we're up the drinking pole. Has anybody seen our ship, the HMS Disgusting? We've 3 guns aft and another one forward. They promise us the funnel for the next World War. Heave-ho, my hearties, the quarterdeck needs dusting. We had a binge last Christmas, yeah. A nice plum pudding and a round of beer. But the captain put his cracker and we cried, oh dear. Has anybody seen our ship? Has anybody seen our ship? The HMS Suggestive. Oh. She sailed away across the bay and we haven't had a smell of it since New Year's Day. Heave-ho, my hearties, we're getting rather restive. We poured our money, spent a lot. The world forgetting by the world forgot. Now we haven't got a penny for the you-know-what. Has anybody seen our ship? Now then.
Now then what?
Now then what?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't you?
No, I don't, so shut up.
I suppose you don't know you mucked up the exit.
It wasn't my fault.
Whose fault was it then? Mussolini's?
Oh, funny, hey?
I suppose you didn't drop your prop, did you? And having dropped it, you didn't have to go back for it, did you? Leaving me to prance off all by myself. Who do you think you are, Rebler?
Never mind about that. The exit was too quick.
Same as what it's always been.
Too quick, I tell you. It's been too quick the whole week. The whole number's too quick.
Bert Bentley takes that number at exactly the same tempo as he's always done.
Oh, you and your Bert Bentley. Just because he stands your Welsh rabbit at the Queen's, you think he's God Almighty.
Bert Bentley is one of the finest conductors in the north of England, and don't you make any mistake about it.
Finest conductor, my foot. I suppose he thinks it's funny to see us leaping up and down the stage like a couple of greyhounds.
If you're a greyhound, I'm Fred Astaire.
Oh, you're Fred Astaire, all right. With a bit of pavlova thrown in. You're wonderful, you are. There's anything you can't do except behave yourself like a gentleman.
Also, expect me to behave myself like a gentleman. That's a good one coming from you,
Oh,
I
shut
will
up.
say.
You make me tired.
I make you tired. I suppose it was me mucked up the exit. I suppose it was me dropped me blasted telescope.
Now, look here. Look here, George Pepper.
Will you stop George peppering me? Why can't you admit it when you're in the wrong? You mucked up the exit. Nobody else did. You did.
Well, what if I did? It was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose.
Lily, It doesn't matter how you did it or why you did it. You did it.
Oh, all right, I did it.
Well, don't do it again.
What's on, Dax?
Mabel Grace. She's nearly finished.
Well, she's been finished for years, as far as I'm concerned.
What's the matter with Mabel Grace?
Well, ask the public, dear. That's all. Just ask the public.
Mabel Grace is an artist, and don't you forget it. She may be a bit long in the tooth now, but she's a bigger star than you'll ever be, so there.
You make me sick. Sucking up to the top liners.
Who sucks up to the top liners?
You do. Look at Irene Baker.
What's the matter with Irene Baker?
Well, when last heard from, she was falling down drunk at the Empire Arkley pool.
That's a dirty lie. Irene never touches a drop till after the show, and well, you know it.
Oh, Irene. Was Miss Baker this and Miss Baker that the last time you saw her?
And that's all you know.
Oh, trying to make me think you got off with her, eh? What a charm.
If a day ever dawns when you can time your laughs like Irene Baker does, I'll give you a nice red apple.
That lot of laughs I'd get when you write the gags.
If you're dissatisfied with your material, you know what you can do with it.
Yeah, I know what I'd like to do with it.
Can't even do a straight walk-off without mucking it up.
Oh, we're back again at that, are we?
Yes, we are, so there.
Dear, I'm sick of you and the old act. It's lousy anyway.
The act was good enough for my mum and dad. It's good enough for you.
Things have changed, you know, a bit since your mum and dad's day. There's electric light now and telephones. A little invention called the moving pictures. I mean, nobody wants to see the red peppers for 3 bob when they can have Garbo for 9p.
That's just where you're wrong, see? We're flesh and blood, we are. The public would rather see flesh and blood any day than a cheesy photograph. Put Garbo on a Saturday night in Devonport and see what had happened to her.
You ought to know. Look what happened to us.
That wasn't Devonport, it was Southsea.
Well, whatever it was, the fleet was in.
If you think the act's so lousy, it's a pity you don't rewrite some of it.
Ever tried going into St. Paul's and offering to rewrite the Bible?
Oh, very funny. Very, 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 very funny. You're wasted in the show business, dear. You ought to write for comic cuts, you ought.
I could think I've better gags than you at that. That wasn't a lady, it was my wife. All the old chestnuts. Oh, they were has-beens when your grandmother fell off the high wire.
And what, may I ask, has my grandmother got to do with it?
Only that she didn't fall soon enough, that's all.
Red peppers, 3 minutes. My God, we're off. Here, hurry.
Oh, come on, don't keep the customers waiting.
You got your cane?
Yes, I've got it.
Well, don't drop it.
Oh, all right.
Yes, you find it willing to do the killing. We're always willing to give the girls a treat. Just a drink at the Ritz, call it double or quits, or then we find the world is at our feet. Top hats, white specs, look divine on us, bells a shine on us, get a lane on us when we on your way. Gad, 11 o'clock, let's pop into the truck. Now we start the business of the day. As we stroll down Piccadilly in the bright morning air, all the girls turn and stare. We are so nonchalant and frightfully debonair as we chat. Tea, Horace, Maud or Lily, you should see the way their boyfriends frown. For they know without a doubt that their luck's right out when they see a couple of men about town. As we stroll down Piccadilly, all the girls say, who's your? Put your answer, my dear, for it's more than you and Percy as we doff heads. Each pretty Billy gives a wink at us and then looks down. For they long with all their might for a red hot night when they see a couple of men about town.
Red Peppers from the 1936 production of Tonight at 8:30. Well, now we come to the main item on tonight's bill, a complete edition of the Eddie Cantor Show, specially recorded for Gertrude Lawrence and never rebroadcast since the original performance in 1939. But before that, I'm going to announce the winners of the Cotton Club competition held on the 2nd of February. First, the answers to the questions. Duke Ellington's original signature tune was East St. Louis Toodaloo. The story of Minnie the Moocher was presented by the singer-band-leader-composer Cab Calloway. The music recreations for the new Cotton Club film were done by Bob Wilbur. Just a Crazy Song featured vocal and tap dancing by the great Bill Bojangles Robinson. Dog Bottom was composed by drummer and band leader Chick Webb. Am I Blue was sung by one of the greatest vocalists ever to appear at the Cotton Club, Ethel Waters. And finally, Stratosphere, the space-age recording from 1934, was composed by band leader Jimmy Lunsford. Well, we had entries from right across Australia, with the exception of Victoria. Apparently, you lot were enjoying cricket at the time. And 7 contestants had all the answers correct, which just goes to prove what a knowledgeable lot you are. So our producer, Helen Richards, has awarded the prizes to the first 5 received in the post. And those came from Mr. F.C. Chatterton of Howrah, Tasmania, Mr. L. Kearney of Belmore, New South Wales, Beau Totterman of Ballina, New South Wales, Mr. J. Skillen, or is it Skiller, of Harbord, New South Wales, and Peter Sim of Turramurra, New South Wales. So, congratulations, and by now you should have received a copy of my new ABC album, New York, which is available at ABC shops and record stores all around Australia. Well, now I hope you're in the mood for half an hour of old-time radio fun, Yankee style. Gertrude Lawrence guest starring on The Eddie Cantor Show, broadcast from radio station WABC, New York City, at 7:30 p.m. on Monday, the 29th of May, 1939.
It's Eddie Cantor's Camel Caravan.
Here is Eddie Cantor.
Thank you very much. Well, hello, Bert. Hello, people. Bert, how do you like this new summer outfit I'm wearing? How do you like it?
Eddie, you look like a rainbow that got socked with a fried egg.
Is that so? Bert, you don't like this tie my wife knitted for me?
Oh, it's all right, but what's that lump hanging at the bottom?
Oh, that's the big toe. It started out to be a pair of socks, you know. Really, Bert, you should see some of the colors the men are wearing this season.
Really?
Dubonnet, burnt orange, cherry, lemon, and what program am I on? But with the women, the favorite, the color is still green, long green. Oh, yeah. And if you think I'm kidding about men's styles, just listen to this fashion news from Esquire, you know, the man's magazine.
Yeah.
The newest note in beach outfits is a creation made of 2 cotton bandana handkerchiefs.
Well, why 2? You just take one bandana, you fold it, wrap it around your hips, and pin it up in front.
Wait, at my age, I should go back to wearing those things now? No, not me, no.
You know, come to think of it, Eddie, men's styles are getting a little bit extreme.
Yeah.
I noticed in a window on 5th Avenue that they're selling open-toe shoes for men.
Well, that's not new, Bert. When I was a kid on Henry Street, that's all I ever wore. And for that matter, I also had open-at-the-seat pants, yeah. Yeah, a lot of us kids on the east side had our own cooling system, believe me.
Well, I can't get over it. Men wearing open-at-the-toe shoes.
Yeah, you think that's something? Listen to this. In the fall, men, look at me, Bert.
Yeah?
I'm telling you something.
Yes?
Men are going to start wearing girdles.
No!
Yes, good. We men want streamlined figures. You got to get rid of that tattletale pouch.
Oh, but Eddie, you have no pouch.
Of course not. You know I'm always 3 months ahead of the style. Men wearing girdles. Can you imagine the fights married couples will have? Whoever wakes up first gets the best girdle. Can you picture what will happen to the men if the styles become even more feminine?
No.
A woman walks into her office, starts handing out cigars, and yells, "Congratulate me, girls, my husband just had a boy."
Oh, Eddie, you know that could never happen.
Well, not to me it couldn't, with my luck. Don't laugh. You know it's so, Bert.
That's right.
Oh, is that a phone?
Yeah.
Hello? Who? What? Washington calling me? Yeah, this is Eddie Cantor. What? Will I? Why, you bet. Gee, thanks. Goodbye.
What is it, Eddie?
Bert, I've been invited to Washington on June 8th to attend the reception given to the King and Queen of England. That's right. Hey, you know, that's quite an honor.
You bet
Gee,
it is.
1,300. You know, 1,300 of us are going to be at the party.
Really?
The Pickup Society, all cultured people. 650 men and 650 women.
650 men and 650 women?
Yep.
Boy, what a game of post office.
Yeah. Is that a nice thing to suggest, Bert Park? Post office? 1,300 of the most influential people in one of the most important affairs ever given, and he thinks the post office. If anything at all, that's the spot for a crap game, I'm telling you. Post office.
That's the telephone.
Again the phone. Eddie Cantor speaking. Hello? Oh, Gertrude Lawrence. You want to come over to teach me court etiquette? Well, thanks. Well, I know I can depend on your culture to do it. Where are you now? Where? In Dave's pool room? Oh, Dave's blue room, the restroom. That's different. Oh. Well, Gertrude, rush right over here. Yes, I'll pay all expenses. You can take the subway on 50th Street. Yeah, goodbye.
Eddie?
Yep.
Is Miss Lawrence really coming over?
Oh, yes, you see, Bert, she can tell me exactly how to conduct myself when I meet their majesties. After all, they are the crowned heads of a government. It isn't every head that can have a...
Go on, say it. I'm bald.
Mr. Guffey!
Go on, call me Baldy. And while you're at it, tell him I'm bow-legged, too.
No, what are you talking? I won't tell him because you're not a bit bow-legged.
No, then for 2 years, why was I a model for parentheses?
Yep. Let's not argue, Guffey. Your legs are okay. And don't worry about your being bald. You have plenty of hair on your head and on your lip and on your arms.
Now I'm a gorilla.
Yep. I didn't make you a gorilla.
You didn't make me.
I didn't make you gorilla.
Nature saved you the trouble, huh? Go on, say it. Cantor has to pull an old chestnut like that.
Who put... Guffey, you told the joke, and as it happens, the audience laughed at it.
No wonder. Take a look at those pussies.
Yep. Stop that. Stop it, Guffey. Where do you come in to insult the audience?
Oh, you got a patent on it.
Yep. Wait a minute. When? When did I insult the audience?
When did you sing last?
Last Monday. Wait a minute. That has nothing to do with it. Don't interrupt. I was talking to Bert Parks about the king and queen. I was about to say what gracious human people they are. The king is wonderful. The queen is grand.
What's wrong with Mrs. Roosevelt?
Yep. Who said Mrs. Roosevelt is fine? Did I say anything about Mrs. Roosevelt?
No, you didn't.
Mrs. Roosevelt is fine.
How do you know?
I met Mrs. Roosevelt.
What were you doing at a Girl Scouts meeting?
Yep. Will you please leave, Guffey? I've got to make arrangements to go to Washington to meet their majesties.
Washington? Couldn't meet him in Brooklyn, huh?
But Guffey, wait a minute. I couldn't ask the king and queen to come to Brooklyn.
What's wrong with Brooklyn?
I didn't say anything is wrong.
We had a baseball team. We had.
Yep. Wait a minute. How does he think of those things? Why all of a sudden should I ask royalty to come all the way to Brooklyn?
All right, don't do it. Keep them to yourself.
Yeah.
For 11 years, my poor sister Myrtle lived in Flatbush. The poor girl never sees anything. And now you refuse to let the king and queen come there.
All right, Guffey, okay. I'll use my influence. I'll bring them to Brooklyn to see your sister.
Fine. Going to drag those lovely people hundreds of miles to see one broken-down blonde. How do you...
Oh, I can't stand it. Guffey, will you get me out of Brooklyn?
How do you like him? 4 bridges, 3 subways, taxis, buses, and I got to get him out of Brooklyn. I carry on my back. I'll go on. Say it. I know exactly what you're thinking. Say it. My sister will never get married.
Who said about your sister? Look, in the first place, I was talking about the king and queen. In the second place, I mentioned Washington. In the third place, Mrs. Roosevelt. And in the fourth place, you, Guffey.
In fourth place, I'm out of the money again.
Out of the money and out of here. Go ahead, will you?
Let me tell you, how do you keep your temper with a man like Guffey?
How? I know that with all his yelling and nagging in his heart, he's no good. Believe me, I know him.
That's the phone. I'll take it this time.
Yeah, all right, you take it. Your turn.
Hello? Who? Clifton Fadiman of information, please? Oh, just a moment. I'll put him on. Here, Eddie.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, hello, Cliff. Yeah, we're still getting mail about your appearance on our program. What? The check I gave you? Yes. You first went to the Chase National Bank. Oh, they chased you out of the First National Bank. What should you do with it? Bury it in the backyard. You did? And up came a rubber plant. Yeah. Well, if you're so smart, why don't you dig up the... Oh, you dug it up again. Oh, I'm sorry. Goodbye. I can't bother with
Well, Eddie, what was that about Clifton Fatima?
Oh, nothing, Bert. Why do you... It's nothing. It's about a check that somebody gave him. I think it was me. Look, but I'm not going to let anybody or anything interfere with my trip to Washington.
Of course.
Bert, you and Kay St. Germain sing a song while I go out and look for Gertrude Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Great name, Lawrence. There was Lawrence of Arabia, D.H. Lawrence, the novelist, Laurence Olivier. But after all, Bert, Cantor is a pretty good name, too.
Yeah. Don't you wish it was yours?
Oh, all right.
It's a well-known fact among the scientific that animals can speak, to be specific. There's Clara Cluck and Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse and Minnie.
Ferdinand can move quite grand and Crosby's horses whinny.
But in the deep aquarium dominion, little fishes also have opinions.
But not until last week did we discover they could speak.
When through the radio, oh by jingo, came this fishy kind of lingo.
Down in the Mary and the itty bitty poo, fam, itty bitty and the mama bitty poo.
Fim fed the mama fiddy fim if tam.
So the fam and the fam all over the dam.
Boop boop did 'em dot 'em wat 'em. Boop boop did 'em dot 'em wat 'em. Boop boop did 'em dot 'em wat 'em. Gesundheit.
The fam and the fam all over the dam.
Beef on pan pan. Stop said the mama fiddy, oh it and os, but the e it's a fitty dinner and a big boss.
For the feet it's a fitty and off on a squeeze.
And the fam right out to the feet. Boop boop did 'em dot 'em wat 'em. Boo. Boop boop did 'em dot 'em wat 'em. Chew. Boop boop did 'em dot 'em wat 'em. Chew.
Oh, choo-choo to Broadway.
Ooh, Cincinnati.
And the fam right out to the feet.
I want some seaweed, mama.
Help, tried the itty-bitties. Who could have failed? And twit as they could, they turned on their tails.
And back to the poo in the Matty they fam.
And the fam over the dam.
Get 'em down and want 'em. Get 'em down and want 'em. We've proved that fish can talk.
Now here's a big surprise.
We also aim to prove that little fish can vocalize. Do, way, mi, fa, so, wa, si, fo, fish scales.
Bert Park, she's here.
Who?
John Golden, star of Susan and God, the star of Noel Cowart's Private Lives, and tonight at 8:30, England's favorite and America's adopted daughter, Miss Gertrude Lawrence. You know, Gertrude, since you appeared with us last year, we've kind of missed you. This program hasn't been the same.
Now, Eddie, that's not true. I've listened every Monday to your program, and it's the same.
Nice sense of humor, Gertrude, and you're pretty too, little gal. Come to think of it, weren't you chosen once as Miss...
Yes, Eddie, I was Miss Brighton of England.
That's right. You know, I won a beauty contest myself once. I'm known as Mr. Canal Street east of the Brooklyn Bridge between the fish market and the delicatessen. And what's more, look at one of the theaters downtown recently. They held a contest for the most beautiful legs, and I came in second.
Oh, Eddie, who came in first?
The piano. But Gertrude, I'm serious about your beauty. Whenever I see you, you look so fresh and fragrant. Tell me, how do you do it?
Well, Eddie, I follow a very simple routine of exercise. First thing in the morning, I lean out of bed and gently pick up my slippers with my teeth.
Yeah, well, I do the same thing, but with a slight variation. I lean out of bed and pick up my teeth with my slippers. What am I saying? What? Continue, Gertrude.
All right. Then I stand for 15 minutes under an ice-cold shower to stimulate my circulation.
Well, that's funny. I stand under the shower for 15 minutes every morning, and it doesn't stimulate my circulation. Maybe I ought to turn on the water, huh? But water wouldn't improve my looks, would it?
Oh, no, Eddie. Personally, I think you're very handsome, in a repulsive sort of way.
Yeah, just the same. Name me 8 things. Name me 8 things that are wrong with my face. Go ahead.
All right. In the first place, your eyes.
Yeah?
Now, last night, when you were sitting out on the curbstone, I heard a cop come up and say to you, "Hey, you, turn off those headlights."
Well, at least my nose is all right.
Well, I don't know. Your nose looks like it's in a terrible hurry to leave your face.
Get it away. Forget my face, if that's possible. After all, Gertrude, you're here to teach me what not to do when I go to Washington June 8th to meet the king and queen.
Well, first of all, Eddie, what about your interpreter?
My interpreter?
Uh-huh. The king and queen speak English, you know.
Well, I'm going to Washington just the same.
All right. Now, you understand that you must not sit down at the table and eat before His Majesty. You eat only when he eats.
And if he has no appetite, everybody goes on a diet, huh? Look, Gertrude, you've attended many social functions. I'd like to know one thing. Put me wise to this. Look.
All right.
Suppose they serve prunes. What do I do with the pit? Do I hold them in my mouth till I get home, or do I put them in a napkin and drop them on the floor? What do I do? What?
Well, there's only one thing to do with prune pits, Eddie.
Yeah.
When no one is looking, you reach under the table and quietly sneak them into the cuff of your trousers.
But supposing it's a formal affair and I'm wearing knickers.
Well, in that case, you keep the prune pits in your palm.
Yeah?
And on the way out, when you shake hands with your hostess...
Yes?
Well, you just let go.
All right, thanks. I think I'll make good at dinner.
I think you will, Eddie, providing you eliminate one of your worst habits.
Now, wait a minute. You've eaten with me many times. Now, what habit? What, for instance?
Well, you must not dunk.
Dunk?
No. In England, we do not dunk.
You don't dunk?
No.
The greatest pleasure in life? The one thing that makes eating worthwhile? You mean that you people over there miss the joy of immersing the stuff in the goo?
Oh, no, Eddie, we never do it. Of course, when we have cake or crumpets with our tea,
yeah,
we let it hang perilously over the edge of the cup.
Yeah.
And naturally, if it happens to fall in, well, we fish it out.
A sneaky dunker. Let me ask you, Gertrude, what does one do with the last bit of soup that's left in the plate? Do you tip it or dip it, or do you pick up the plate and finish it? What do you do?
Oh, you don't do any of those things. And the first and the best circles, they now have soup plates with stoppers.
Yeah?
You simply pull out the plug, duck beneath the table, open your mouth, and inhale.
Yeah! That's good. I'll remember that. Now I've got one thing that will either make or break me socially, and that is mopping up the gravy. What do you do about that?
Well, Eddie, what has been your procedure?
Well, look, people sitting next to me never suspect. You see, I hold a piece of bread between my fingers. I stick my elbow out, and when the waiter passes, he bumps it, dropping the bread in the gravy. Naturally, you must pick it up, so you take a fork and stick it in the bread. You fumble, and you keep pushing it this way and pushing it that way until you reach your goal, and your goal is the gravy. There you are. Tell me, Gertrude Lawrence, how do you get your gravy?
Oh, just by picking up little jobs like this on the radio.
I like that. That's all right. Look, I wish you would continue telling me what to do at Their Majesty's reception in Washington.
All right, now here we go. To ensure your success, you've got to be prepared to make a nice toast.
I have one. Listen. Here's to England and America, the Union Jack, the red, white, and blue. This toast I suggest to our honored guest, and he answers, how do you do? The Russian. Tell me, how do you like him, Gertrude?
I don't know. Who is, isn't he a gruesome little gargoyle?
Eddie Kemper, I'm a mouthwash. A man who was going to Washington to meet the king and queen.
Why, you too? Russian, if you're really going to Washington, why don't you come along with me?
Sorry, but I'm going in a private car with celebrities.
Oh, now, Russian. What celebrity's private car would you get into?
Seabiscuit is not a celebrity.
Yep. He's the only guy you ever missed on Seabiscuit. Gertrude, do me a favor.
All right.
Test him on some point of etiquette, huh?
Right. Now, here we go. Russian, what's the proper procedure when a group of ladies and gentlemen enter a dining room?
That's very simple. You remain standing until all the ladies are seated. That is unless there's not enough chairs to go around.
All right. Let's say there's enough chairs.
In that case, you stand behind the lady at your right and gently push the chair against the back of her knees.
Yeah, that breaks the ice.
Sometimes it breaks the knees.
Oh, that's utterly, utterly bourgeois.
How dare you? How dare you say that? Why, in the days of White Russia, I mingled with royalty. The Tsar wanted me to marry his niece, Countess Kratchmer.
Yeah?
But I revolted.
He revolted.
The Tsar wanted me to marry his cousin, Baroness Portushka Prince.
Yes.
But I revolted.
He revolted.
Then he wanted me to marry the Grand Duchess of Knish. Again I revolted.
Oh, boy, are you revolting.
Continue.
All right. This time the Tsar. So he banished me from his court.
What happened?
So I didn't play handball. Do you realize how I felt to be exhaled from my home?
Exiled.
Exhaled. A word is a word. Exiled from my home of Moscow. Moscow, the land of my birth. Moscow, where my forefathers were born. Moscow. Eddie came from Moscow in Russia.
Russian, don't flaunt your ignorance in front of one who knows. Why, Miss Lawrence is of the English aristocracy. She has a coat of arms.
So what? I got the coat of arms with 2 pairs of pants.
Yeah.
That's more than she can say.
Russian, will you stop and listen to Miss Lawrence? Continue, Gertrude, if you please.
Well, now, at the reception for the king and queen, what is the first thing you do when you sit down at the table?
I take off my coat and open the last 3 buttons on my vest.
Wait a minute. You're going to Washington just to eat?
Say, the king I can see in the newsreel.
Oh, stop acting like a bull and let Miss Lawrence teach you some table manners.
Well, be glad to. Tell me, Miss Lawrence, how will I know what knife and fork to use?
Oh, that's very simple. You just watch the fellow next to you.
Fine thing. I turn around and somebody takes the meat off my plate.
No. Russian society people don't do things like that.
Don't tell me. With them, you got to watch everything, even your coffee.
Coffee?
Did you ever hear of the cream of society?
Yes.
That's how they got it.
Oh, now, wait a minute. We're talking about table manners. Do you know what to do if there are crumbs at the table?
If they behave themselves, let them stay there. They're their own boss.
Oh, Russian, you have no manners at all. Why, even a moron knows what to do with breadcrumbs.
All right, what should I do?
You take the breadcrumbs in your fingers and roll them into little balls.
That's right. And then when you get 4 balls...
Then you got to take a base.
No. Look, Russian, let me paint a picture for you, will you?
What paint?
You're seated around the table at the dinner for the king and queen.
Suddenly a hush falls over the room, and you rise immediately. Now, do you know why?
Somebody gave me a hot foot, huh?
No. Now you've finished dinner, and you're ready to leave the table. Now, what do you do?
I put on my shoes.
No. Oh, God. Forget dinner, will you, Russian? The whole reception is over. It's time to leave. Now what?
I take home a painting off the wall, a chandelier off the ceiling, and the fixtures from the bathroom.
Why, you can't do that.
No souvenirs, eh?
No, Russian, I'm afraid the whole thing is hopeless as far as the Washington reception is concerned. You proved beyond a doubt tonight that you don't know how to act in society.
Don't say that. Not long ago, Barbara Hutton and Brenda Frazier were both madly in love with me.
Yeah?
First Barbara sent me flowers and Brenda sent me candy. It was flowers and candy.
And candy and flowers and flowers and candy and
that's why Doc is up, please. But I grew tired of eating flowers and smelling candy.
Yeah?
Then suddenly the presents got bigger.
Yes?
Brenda sent me an automobile, and Barbara sent me a yacht.
No.
A yacht. A yacht. Each of them was struggling for mine affections. They were fighting and fighting and fighting. It was a terrible battle.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to make us believe that Barbara Hutton wanted you for a husband?
Why not? I'm a foreigner.
Now, Russian. Gertrude, I want to thank you for helping us out tonight, and in reciprocation, if there's anything you want, anything, I'll be glad to give it to you.
Well, that's very nice of you, Eddie. There is something. Would you cash a check for me?
What a question. Of course. Is it your personal check?
No. I got it from Clifton Fadiman.
Look, that's been around quite a bit. I'll make out a fresh one. Do you mind?
Mm-hmm.
Hand me that fountain pen, somebody. Oh, again. Just in the middle of making out a check. Hello, this is Eddie Cantor.
This is your bank, National City. Are you about to write another check?
Why, yes. A fine thing. All of my checks come back marked NSF, meaning non-sufficient funds.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry, Eddie. So long as your scripts don't come back marked NSF, meaning not sufficiently funny. Now, we've had a great deal of fun tonight, and of course we haven't meant all this joking about royalty. Just as you have a profound respect for your president and first lady, so we British have a very great affection for our king and queen. And Eddie, your recent and triumphant visit to England has encouraged me to make this statement, that as long as artists such as you are interchangeable between England and America, they can act as ambassadors. And as long as we can continue to amuse each other, we can amaze the rest of the world. Good night.
Good night, Gertrude Lawrence, and thank you. Here is a song, ladies and gentlemen, that I had played for me the other day. It impressed me so much that I asked permission to introduce it. I do hope you like it. In the wisdom of the sages, which has come down through the ages, you'll find the thread of thought that carries through. If you'll only take a good look through the pages of the good book, you'll find what was behind their point of view. They took an interlude for gratitude, for the sight of moonlight and the warmth of the sun, and things that are shared by everyone. In the morning when you climb out, why not stop and take some time out to thank the man upstairs for the old-time friends who stick to you through the years, sharing your laughter and your tears. That's enough to make your mind up from now until the wind-up to thank the man upstairs. Just a few days, little children, few days, little children, few days, little children for us folks downstairs. So thank your mother and your hard-working dad. Think of the time they must have had. Talk about your fame and glory, but save some oratory to thank the man upstairs. To find a land where everyone could be free, the little Mayflower crossed the sea. At that first Thanksgiving dinner, they said, boys, we've picked a winner. Let's thank the man upstairs. When things look bad for good old General George, what did he do at Valley Forge? There he stood one winter sundown, for a moment put his gun down to thank the man upstairs. They made a new day, little children, new day, little children, new day, little children for us folks downstairs. What was back of Patrick Henry when he made history? The same thing is here for you and me. For the right to help a brother when he's stepped on by another. Let's thank the man upstairs. Let's thank the man.
This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Gertrude Lawrence guest starring with Eddie Cantor, her own recording of the program broadcast in 1939. I'm Robert Parker. After the news, John West returns with the final hour of Sentimental Journey and more British comedy.
ABC Radio 1 and 3, Eastern Time is 9 o'clock.